Thank you. Thank you and good evening, everyone. And welcome to the meeting of Council of May 6th. It's May already. It being 7 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Council, there was some prior conversations about adding an item and discussions with the corporate officer regarding street patios on Cowrie Street. So that's a motion that I will make and seconded. Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. To amend the agenda, the suggestion is we add it as item 5.3. If that's, yeah, all in favor of the amendment? Thank you. And then a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Seconded, all in favor, carried. All right, without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Gary Feschuk, Akista, and his former worship, Cam Reed, to talk to us about the Suyaya Reconciliation Movement. Welcome, Gary. It's nice to have you back here. Oops. Can you just press the button on the, yeah, there, perfect. Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
very well.
Itananat Ukmasiaya, Akastal Hakanukton Squish. I wanted to say thank you for allowing us to come before the mayor and council today. I'm very privileged to be able to come and speak to you today. And it's about the Suyaya movement. And I want to thank you for also agreeing to continue with Suyaya Days from June 21st to July 1st. And the reason why we're coming here today is that we're doing an invitation to the mayor and their council members to come and join us in our longhouse on June 27th. The tables will be set at noon, and we're having the Honorable Stephen Point and his wife, Gwen, will be coming to our longhouse on that day and representing the BC Reconciliation Award that Suyaya won this year for the province. And the reason why we want to have it in our longhouse, and we're going to be inviting all the local governments and all the businesses that helped us lift up our survivors, is that we want all of our guests to be there at that time because this award belongs to the Sunshine Coast. And I want everybody to be honored and proud when that award is represented because it belongs to everybody who had it in their heart that they would walk with our survivors. And also in June, it's Indigenous Heritage Month or History Month. And to be honest with you, history hasn't been very kind to our people. And so this is an event where we can come together and celebrate and thank everyone for walking with us. And there'll be a presentation, and we're going to honor Stephen Point and his wife because Stephen Point, as a lieutenant governor, founded that Reconciliation Movement Award that he made it happen every year since he was a lieutenant governor. And so we're going to honor him that day and also thank him for coming. I didn't get to go to Victoria when it was presented because I can't travel that far anymore. But I just want to say that we're hoping that we're going to, because we have to, when we're in our longhouse, we have to follow our protocol and our teachings. Before we can do any work, we have to feed our guests. So there will be a feast to start because when you come into our home, our guests can never leave hungry. That's one of our teachings. And then we have a number of things lined up, some floor speakers, floor managers, giving blankets and gifts to give away. And the theme for Suyaya Days this year, and it goes to everybody on the Sunshine Coast because the theme for Suyaya Days is together making a difference. And in my heart, I believe that when we're walking together, we can make a big difference. And all we had to do is just change the way we see. Once we change the way we see and you open your hearts, all those reconciliation projects became reality. And that's what can happen. I know there's a lot of tension within the province, but it doesn't bother me one bit because I know where our title lies. And I'm not here to claim title today, maybe tomorrow. But I just wanted to say I wanted to say thank you tonight, and because we have to follow our teachings, we have to come in person when we invite you to our longhouse. And I'm just glad you didn't live too far away, because when I got invited to an event in the Upper Squamish, the person who gave me the invitation was following their elders' teachings. He had to run his invitation to Seashell to give it to me from North Vancouver. With that, I'm hoping that you will come. We're going to have some cultural performances, probably not from our group, because our group will be going to Campbell River for a youth soccer tournament. But we have some outside neighboring communities who are going to bring their cultural groups to lift everybody's spirits up that day, and especially the survivors. And I just wanted to say, I really want to thank everybody for all those projects, because to me, every penny that was spent was worth it, just seeing the smile on our survivors' faces. And there is 4 videos out now. I think 3 of them have been released, and if you go onto our webpage, CI Reconciliation Movement, you'll be able to watch them. We're going to show them tonight, but they said we only had 10 minutes, and I said, you're only giving me 10 minutes. I said, it takes me 10 minutes just to introduce myself. But I really want to thank you, and I know Cam has wants to share a message too.
Mayor and Council, we do appreciate all the support that you've given us over the past year. And it's great that Gary explains. The award is for all of you. It's because of your participation and your support. And having said that, we're looking forward to more support. As we're putting on these events this year, they're costing us $40,000. The band has volunteered to contribute $10,000 toward this, and we'd like you to see if you got room in your budget for consideration to give us support. But more importantly, we would like to see you there. Thank you for receiving us tonight.
Thank you. And you have some awards I think you wanted just to highlight, maybe.
Well, these are the awards that were given to CIA and Victoria, and we'd like to, if our CIA group can just hand them around for everybody,
Yeah.
council members to see.
Gary could explain.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mayor and Council, I'm Carrie Mullman, and what Cam Reed is holding up is a beautiful orange shawl. I think many of you are aware of Phyllis Webstad and her work on the orange shirt. And so one of the chiefs of the Lekwungen speaking people, the Songhees people, is rather partial to mohair and soft fabrics. And so he arranged for a weaving in the color orange. And it has Lekwungen language, which is the language of the people who live near and around Victoria, as well as some language from other First Nations in British Columbia. And so this now has become a tradition that this shawl is put around the shoulders of the individuals who are receiving the Reconciliation Achievement Award. So thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Carrie, very much. And Councillor Shepherd is keeping one of the awards. Council, so any questions for our delegation, Councillor Bell?
Through the chair. First, I am so happy to see the spirit behind this intended event. That it is about all of the community being invited to come together as family and friends to continue the work of reconciliation collectively. As we're all neighbors, I want to thank you for bringing this opportunity to our community. And it's so good to see you here tonight, Gary. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Others, folks? Okay, I guess we heard your request, and perhaps we will dignify it by not discussing money things right here. But Gary, thank you again for coming and thank you everybody for being here.
Your car up.
Thank you. Okay. Council, then it's item 4.2, and it is my pleasure to announce and proclaim that May 31st. Oops, yeah. May 31st, 2026 is the Coast Hospice Day in the District of Sechelt. I have the proclamation, and I understand somebody well known to the Sunshine Coast community will accept it. Donna Sugar. There. Thank you. Can I say no? Please. No, it's published, of course, in our agenda, and I hope you'll publish or put it on your social media and everything so that. Yep, there, yeah, perfect. Great.
Funny that red means go here.
I-
At the regional board, it was green. I just wanted to say to Mayor and Council, thank you so much for the support that the Hospice Society continues to receive from the Sechelt Council. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. The community investment program is a really important piece of our funding. It supports the programs and services that we offer to people who are experiencing probably the most vulnerable and challenging times of their lives, whether they're facing a life-limiting diagnosis, whether they're supporting someone who is or who is dying or who is mourning the loss of someone very close to them. And these are really challenging moments. And those are the people that our services support and offer care to. A little statistic, about 60% of our clients and our volunteers live in Sechelt, so it's a very direct benefit to those folks. I also wanted to mention the building that we lease from you, which we are now calling the Program Center, which you probably call Kirkland Center. It's a hub of activity. There's so much that goes on there. And all of our programs, our volunteer training, our administrative offices, it's a very well-used space. So we really appreciate your support in that regard as well. May 31st is a significant day this year because it is the closing of our annual Hike for Hospice campaign. And we're doing something new this year. We are hosting our campaign celebration at Seaside Center. And we're going to begin at 10 o'clock with a memorial activity and then a parade around the downtown core. At 11, the doors will open and our volunteers and staff will be on hand with information and tables about all of our different programs and services. So people can come and see exactly where their donations and support are, how that's being used. So it's going to be a really fun and interesting day. We'll also be showing our film, Living with Dying, that we did during COVID upstairs. And the Lions Club is going to have a barbecue. So it's going to be a real celebratory event as well as some very meaningful information. So I hope that you come 11 till 2, or if you want to come on the walk at 10, that would be terrific to see some of you there. Thank you again. We really appreciate.
Just
Oh,
1 second, and we'll
okay.
go to questions. You've got hands up all over
Okay.
here. Counselor Inkster,
Yeah,
please.
thanks. Donna, it's good to have you here. As you know, I'm very supportive of what you do and the buildings that you've put together and the support through that you give to our community in the final days for some. I would ask you, because you're here, if it's possible, you've invited the Regional District Board that has, not necessarily you, but the organization, has invited the Regional District Board to the hospice that you're creating. And I was one of the ones that asked for that and encouraged the group to do that. And obviously they stepped up, a good group that they are. If I could ask though, is there any way you could, for the next time or soon, invite our council to go look at that building as well?
Absolutely. I will make sure that Tess Huntley, the executive director, sets up, you mean a visit to the Mossy Rock site? Is that
Yes.
what you're asking? Yeah.
Yes.
We've had a couple of tours since construction began, just the board members, and it's really exciting to see the progress and development. So absolutely, I can make sure that that happens.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
because it's through this council that Alton and myself are given the responsibility to have said yes to that grant and to support your organization. So
Yeah.
I think that this council is vested as much as the regional board is. Thanks.
So you're asking
Thanks.
for the Seashell Council to have a tour or the RHD to have a tour?
The council with the
Okay.
CRD, if it's possible on that day or another day. I don't know if council can make it, but I'd certainly love for us to be able to get the opportunity. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll talk to Tess. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Great.
Great idea.
Thank you, Councillor Inkster. Councillor Bell? Question?
Through
Yeah.
the chair. I just want to thank you for being here.
Can you,
and to-
Councillor Bell, can you pull the microphone?
There, sorry about that. Personally, I've got such a
Pull
big
the
voice.
microphone. There.
There, how's that? That's better. I want to thank you personally. I am a cancer survivor, thriver. And for me, with the work that you do and the volunteers that were there for me,
Yeah. Thank you. Glad you're here.
Yep.
so thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Bye. That's awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you brought, well, I recognize the rest of you folks. I know Donna gets all the credit, but very good. Okay, council, without further ado, then I guess we can bring Mr. Vanderhorst into the call. There he is.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening, and welcome. And council, of course, we're on page 7. And I guess Ms. Smith is here. How do you want to proceed?
Thank you. Good evening. We can just proceed with Corey presenting the financial statement.
Right. Very good. Is that all right with you, Mr. Vanderhorst?
That works. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Bev, for the introduction. And thank you to council for inviting me here to attend your meeting tonight. As in past years, I have a short presentation to go through, take you through your 2025 financial statements. Before I start, a big thank you to the finance team, the Director of Financial Services and manager and the rest of the finance team for going through the audit process. We really appreciate all their assistance each and every year as we get the audit accomplished. So I will start as a reminder that, you know, throughout the year when you're getting information from staff and staff reports, it might talk about capital or sewer or individual funds. But when the financial statements are prepared and when we perform our audit, we're looking at everything on a consolidated basis. So the general funds, sewer, capital and reserve, as well the results of the Sunshine Community Forest are recorded. You know, what it earns minus any dividends that it provides to the district are recorded in your financial statements, and you have a line item there for the investment in the community forest. So a little bit of a different flow this year. I'm going to start on the statement of operations or the income statement for the year and look at the revenues and expenses. So for 2025, total revenues of very similar to 2024, just over $28 million. Expenses with some inflationary increases up to about $24.4 million, but under budget. You can see there the budget for 2025 expenses was 29 million, but only 24 million spent. So you have an accounting surplus of $3.6 million. I say accounting surplus because we're doing things with deferred revenues and there's no capital spending in that amount. So I always like to go next to the cash flow statement. This is what you're thinking of when you're thinking about your budget, that the cash flows in and cash flows out. Regular operations, all the day-to-day operations of the district are a $9.2 million increase. That's up about $1 million from the prior year. Capital projects and capital spending was $2.4 million. So not as much, there were some significant capital projects in 2024, a little bit less on the capital side in 2025. You've got $25,000 of proceeds from portfolio investments. New debt proceeds of $683,000 to finance capital projects or equipment, and paying down the debt on schedule of $663,000. So at the end of the year, your main general bank accounts actually had a $6.8 million cash inflow. Then we can see that here on the balance sheet, statement of financial position, a snapshot of what was in the accounts on December 31st. Cash, as I just mentioned, up to just over $6 million, from $40 million to $47 million at the end of the year. If you add the receivables and some other more liquid assets, you get what we call the total financial asset position of $53.7 million. Debt being paid down is with the, you can see when we looked on the last slide, about 600 new debt and 600 paid down. So the overall debt being carried at the district remains steady at 4.5 million, and debt and payables and other liabilities are on the books at $28.8 million. If you take the financial assets of $53.7 million and subtract out the liabilities of 28.8, you get what we call the net financial position of $24.8 million. And again, you can see about a $5 million increase year over year, reflecting that increased cash at the end of the year. Tangible capital assets being managed, roads, water, sewer, equipment, things like that, are $168.7 million at the end of the year. So even though there was $2.2 million of additions, there was actually more than depreciation than that. So it actually drew the book value down. And at the end of the year, the district has an accumulated surplus on the books of $194 million. And that breaks down into these categories. So most of it is what we call the equity and tangible capital assets, the book value of the assets minus the debt that you're carrying. Then you've got $13.2 million set aside in statutory reserves. The value of your investment in the community forest is at $2.4 million. The general fund is $10.5 million. Sewer fund 7.3, and that makes up the total of the $194 million. Switching out of the numbers for a minute, our audit is complete. We've had all the last few steps accomplished in the last few days. We are happy to be providing what we call an unqualified audit opinion. That's auditors speak for a clean audit opinion. We are satisfied that the financial statements that you have in your packages are prepared accurately in all material respects in accordance with public sector accounting standards. Ready to sign the report. The last step tonight is council approval. All the other minor outstanding matters have been sorted out. When we perform our audit, we do look at controls, make sure they are designed and implemented to ensure you're getting accurate reporting and you have appropriate safeguarding of assets that are being managed and held by the district. We sample transactions throughout the year. We don't look at everything. There's a limitation to audit. We just can't possibly look at every transaction. So we sample to give ourselves comfort over the financial statement balances. To do that sampling, we use that fourth bullet there, that number of materiality is 1,350,000. That's based on roughly 5% of your annual revenues. And so we're looking at every transaction over that amount. That's usually large grants and capital projects. And then we sample transactions below that amount to give ourselves comfort over the financial balances. We didn't find any irregularities or unusual conflict of interest or related party transactions. We are not specifically looking for fraud in the course of a financial statement audit, but if something came to my attention, I would be required to report it out to council. Again, a big thank you to management and staff throughout the district. In finance primarily, they take the heavy load, but also other departments as well for going through the audit process. I will confirm our independence. We didn't do any other projects with Seashell that would impair my ability to give you an independent audit opinion. We have done some work assisting the finance department throughout the year, but nothing that would cause any independence threats. I will stop there. I would be happy to answer any questions from council.
Very good. Thank you. Council, had a chance to go through? I know this is exciting stuff, but Councillor Shepherd, please.
Yeah, thanks very much for the presentation. I noticed it was great to see the reserves being steadily accumulating over the past few years because we're setting aside 3% of taxation towards our reserves. So it's great to see that accumulating over time. I think there is another piece that council, well, we've run out of term, but in terms of what is the adequate number that should be setting aside. But I'm happy to move the recommendation on page 7.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you. So that, yes. So, okay, other questions, council? Please, Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair.
This is on the financial statement.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Appendix C, there's just one thing that looks like there was a slight discrepancy. Summary of
Do we have a
significant.
page number, please?
Page 58 of our agenda,
Mhm.
page 8 of, I guess, their report.
Yep, please.
Yeah, if you could just explain that and a little bit more what it's about, since it seems to be the only thing highlighted as any kind of issue at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm just looking for your reference. Sorry, page 8 in our audit findings report.
Yes,
Document. Okay, thank you.
the appendix C.
Appendix C. Perfect. Yes, thank you. Yes, so in the course of an audit, as I mentioned, that number of materiality, $1.3 million. If we find items in the course of our audit that are smaller than that amount, I can still give you a clean audit opinion. So what we note is what we call unadjusted items in the course of our audit, and that's what is flagged in the table there. There are 2 projects that are ongoing at the end of 2025. However, they are either related to an asset retirement obligation liability and work there, or I think the one for the sanitary sewer model and master plan, they won't result in an asset when they're complete. So they're sitting in a work in progress account, and the discussion with staff was those should really be expensed or to reduce the liability for the asset retirement obligation. Because they're small, 215,000 for the one item, 155,000 for the other item, we can stick them here on the unadjusted, and they will be cleaned up in 2026 when those projects are completed. That's why we put them on the unadjusted. I would defer to Bev if she has, or David if they have to elaborate any further.
Okay, thank you. I think your point, if I may, is that you don't consider it significant enough that you wanted to insist it be adjusted, and staff are happy with the way it's been presented.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to pick up on one thing from Councillor Shepherd's comment. Do you have, because I believe you do work for a number of municipalities,
Yes.
and the issue of our reserves, it is great to have, money in the bank. What have you been able to, or do you know of any industry efforts to assess what is an adequate level of reserves?
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a great question. It comes up frequently at the various councils that I work for. My answer is there's no real magic number for what that threshold should be. Part of the reserves are driven from the capital plan, the infrastructure that you're having. So I always encourage any community, and I know your staff is already doing this, of looking at the long range planning, looking beyond the 5-year plan into what are some of those larger projects that might be in year 7 or year 10, and needing to have the right mix of reserves and debt and other funding sources. So as I mentioned, the question comes up a lot. but there isn't really a good number. One of the drawbacks of looking at historic financial statements is that value of the tangible capital assets that's there is not the replacement cost. It's what it cost 10 years ago, 20 years ago when some of the assets were built. So the asset management plan or infrastructure plans that staff have developed are an important piece for council to look at in terms of how much reserves is needed.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it's certainly it's not a one number response, as you say. There's
Yeah.
capital obligations and there's short-term security if something goes bad for a short period of time. I hope the industry, and I'm speaking to the auditing industry, does embrace this a bit, because I think it is a, well, dare I say, a growing burden on all municipalities, and we need to wrestle it to the ground.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, I agree with your comment, but I do also know organizations such as the Government Finance Officers Association have done a lot of work around the long-range planning piece and providing feedback to finance teams around the province. And I think that is a great organization, and I know your staff engage with them for figuring out what should it look like, what should those reserve balances be as you go forward.
Excellent handover. Okay, Councillor Inkster, thank you. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of questions. I know I'm not even sure if it's to the auditor, but generally to our staff, and I'm assuming that's an opportunity to ask these questions. When we look at debt, now that it's being presented to us with a lot of figures, the long-term debt and the short-term debt are not large amounts. But my question, and I got a couple of questions if possible, thank you. The debt that we have out and the amount we're able to borrow, does staff know what percentage of unborrowed debt that we, in a sense, we haven't borrowed, and percentage and or dollar figures? Do we have that amount? Just my first question, please.
Okay, thank you.
It can be figured out because it's a combination of short and long term.
Yes.
To know what your cap would be.
Yes.
Right. So our cap would be, if it were all long term, would be close to $50 million.
Okay.
But if you're borrowing short term in there, then that cap would drop because it's about servicing the debt. Really, it's more about that than it is about the cap on borrowing. So, yeah, so we have relatively low debt, and we do have plans in the 5-year capital plan that more debt will be occurring, but yeah.
The
So
plans
about-
based on decisions made by council, I'm assuming, yes. Great. Always good to have the council decision making in there for the debt. Okay, so it's low amount. Mr. Douglas said it's relatively low. I would say it's really low. And we're not Burnaby. But I think we're doing well. I just wanted to ask a question then. I didn't realize this before. We're looking at our debt, and when we're at ABSCC, one of the things that happens to council members is we get to talk to other municipalities. And what I was hearing in some cases was high taxes and high debt, generally for smaller communities that have services to provide. That was a really scary situation to hear from those communities that have high taxes and high debt. It's probably why some communities, if the people here don't know tonight, are asking to be part of regional districts to share in the cost of providing services. So, and once again, I'm glad that we're in the situation we are in so far. The question I would ask, though, is the 4.44% long-term debt on the operations center that's there.
The interest rate.
Pardon me?
The interest
The
rate
interest
on
rate,
the,
yeah, then it's a long debt. I can't remember seeing that figure before, but if hopefully you know, or if you can get back to me and all of council, why we would have such a long debt on that, why it's so many years, because of the length of time to pay off that relatively small debt, we would be paying a fair amount more in interest versus principal.
Okay.
So I'm just not sure if it's good financial policy. Thanks.
Well, it was a $3 million build
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
We would have been able to borrow up to 25 years on that. We chose to borrow for 20 years. After 10 years, the interest resets at whatever the current rate of interest would be at that point in time. If you were to shorten the debt, obviously you'd have to up the taxes to pay the principal down faster. So we were going through fairly high tax increases during that period. And so it made more sense to extend the debt out 20 years than to make it a 10-year debt or 5-year debt.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I think, and it's a long-term building. It's not something that's going to disappear in 5 years. So going out longer, that's essentially a mortgage like we do on our houses. Yeah. Okay. Right? Yeah.
Well, no, but,
Well,
but what, what many more questions can I ask? But thanks.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, Mr. Vanderhorst is here because I'd like you to be, just the other question I had is on page 16. And this is as much, well, certainly for council's benefit, but for the public. We have a line, the third line down on page 16 on the statement of operations, where we're reflecting a budget for government grants of almost 12 million, but it came in at 1 million. Now, I'm asking that knowing the answer, but I think it would help the public in particular to understand it's not that we're way under budget or that we didn't get money we didn't expect. So I don't know who would like to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead if you want.
Oh, yeah, I'll just give a really high level answer and then I'll turn it over to you, David. Is important, I think, to look in conjunction with that budget number of grants versus what came in is to look at the budget level of capital activity, which was much, I think, $23 million planned for 2025 versus the 2.4 that was done. And the nature of all these capital projects, we know things get delayed or things don't happen in certain timeframes. And that's a big piece of that, because some of that I would expect to be grant funded as opposed to debt. And David, feel free to, there's more nuance than that. That's a very high level answer.
Yeah, whenever we take to council the opportunity to apply for a grant, we don't know if we're getting them or not. But they work their way into the financial plan. So there are a couple of grants that are listed in the budget side that we didn't get. There's a grant that we haven't started pulling on yet. And we did spend about you said $1 million there on bringing grant money in for project work. So there's really 3 or 4 reasons why the budget is so much different than what we took in.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because note 12 on page 31, again, I just wanted people to understand that we're not falling short. So there's several items that are in there that are, I believe, either commitments down near the bottom for the childcare facility and so on. And these are numbers that we know we either have, or am I right that we, like the Trail Bay waterfront, is that one that we?
That was applied for, but
that we
was not
didn't-
awarded.
Right. But some of them we have, do we not?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so which ones? So we've received childcare, drought mitigation.
Yes, both of those. We have been awarded.
Yeah. I think we have the
We
money.
haven't been polling on those yet. Those
No.
projects are underway, but they're not at the point where we're going to be pulling grant money in.
Right. Right, but we have that money in our bank account.
We do, yes. We only have a portion of the daycare one.
Okay, it jumped out at me because some of this goes back more than this year. So I just don't want to flag it that this is not a bad news story. These are monies that are available. Perhaps it's because we have yet to get into the actually incurring the costs. So we would normally reflect those when when we're spending the money. Yeah. You with me, Mr. Vanderhorst? Yeah. I found this quite an unusual presentation, so, for these items, so that's why I'm flagging it. It's not a bad news story. It's, just, we need some more time to get some of these projects underway. I think that's the fair comment. Okay, anything else, council? Not? Looking pensive. Nope. Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Was there anything you wanted to add, Mr. Vanderhorst? You've got some of the other parts of your presentation.
Nope, that's, I've taken through the highlights and thank you for your questions. Good questions there. I appreciate working with the council and working with staff. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a good evening on the other side of the Georgia Strait.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And now we go, I guess from there, we go to the solid waste collection contract, item 5.2, starting on page 64. And who's handling this?
I can provide council with a brief overview of the staff report that's presented and the very brief contract the draft contract that's attached as for council's consideration. The intention here is to provide a short-term extension to the agreement in order to facilitate a request for proposal process and get some competitive bids on a new longer-term contract.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Councillor Toth, please.
Thank you. I mean, I'm amenable to extending this until we have an opportunity to tender and renew. I guess my question for staff is that, what is the timeline that's being looked at here for tendering a new RFP for this contract? One of the, we'll call it a grievance, if you will, that council had last term was that when we came in, basically the terms for waste collection had already been set by the council before us. And so as a council, we'd had some conversations about other options, pay as you throw or bin flexibility, things like that. But it was already too late because the tender was out and, we were basically had to sign a contract because of the way the procurement went. And so looking at this timeline, I don't want to do that to the next council. And so I had asked about the idea of doing like a workshop with the next council to discuss other options that might be possible. And so I'm just wondering how that intersects with this need to send out a tender. Thank you.
Okay, we putting that on Mr. Douglas, Mr. Yates?
I can answer that. There's couple things that play part of this. One is the time to put the tender together, put it out and evaluate it. It's one of the more complex tenders we do put out. And then the second part of that is if we go to a different carrier, they need time to assemble proper equipment to start servicing us. And so that almost makes the 18 months by doing that. So if I'm hearing what you're saying, that you would like the other council to deal with the planning and proceeding with a tender and then putting it out for tender and then awarding, we wouldn't be starting the tender until November, December. So 18 months would be tight, but I would probably still be able to do it within that time frame.
Okay, please, Councillor.
Thank you. Yeah, and so I'd be interested in other members of
Mhm.
council's thoughts on this, because right now we've got, bi-weekly pickup for garbage, bi-weekly pickup for recycling. The bins are fixed sizes. There's really no incentive to get people to generate less waste than they can fill in their bins on the bi-weekly basis. I don't want us to necessarily back the next council into a corner that they have to sign the contract for the RFP that's returned. But
Mhm.
I'm not prepared to change the direction of our collection service with, 4 months left in the term either. So
Yeah.
just my thoughts. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to that. Councillor McLaughlin?
Yes, thank you through the chair. I think, we've all experienced what it's like to have this service now. And myself, I have a little stack of comments and issues that I think would help to just discuss and consider. Maybe we could just put them in a spreadsheet, have council share them, and then pass them on to our director of finance, that he could review some of them. Some of them may be reasonable, some of them may not be reasonable, but it would just give the contractor a chance to say, yeah, we can maybe do that. For instance, I noticed we get pickup along the highway on Fridays, which just causes such traffic jams and hazards. I go, why do we do that? We're in a contract, but could we make them do that area on another day? Thursday, Monday, anything but Friday. So little things like that. So I think it just gives room for negotiation and to improve the service without it turning into a huge ordeal. I mean, I think that might be a way to go. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, not, Councillor Shepherd, please.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm in support of the 18-month term too. That's fine. I would support Councillor McLaughlin's idea of just everyone from council putting into a spreadsheet their comments on what changes could be reviewed. I'm just wondering, as staff sort of go through the process of going through bidding out the contract again, are you looking at data from the the last 4 years or the last contract in terms of looking at perhaps pointers to changes? I mean, maybe there isn't pickup or you could vary the pickup of garbage to once every 3 weeks, just as a sort of poor example. Is there the possibility during the 18th month term to do that? Thanks.
To do, whoops, your microphone. Right. Adam, your microphone was off. Yeah, okay, thank you.
We certainly can look at data. We also take into consideration what we hear from the public or from the people that are serviced as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm in support of the recommendation. Thanks.
Okay. Councillor Inkster?
I was going to suggest that Councillor Shepherd buy me a larger freezer if he wanted me to wait 3 weeks, nevertheless. One of the things that I was that if we do go to talking about some of these issues is in 2014-18, one of the problems, and I guess I was the stick in the mud on that one, is trying to determine what kind of green waste we needed, because I compost and mulch, and a lot of people some don't do that, and or they only do green waste from May till September when they're trimming and doing their lawns, but I mulch it. So that's one of those things where, how do we deal with that non-use? The landfill will say that food waste takes up a lot of landfill, although I always thought it decomposed. So there's things like that. There's all those issues in that. My blue bin's full again, but my green bin is empty, right? Yeah, we get it the opposite week. So it'll be good to have that discussion on some of those things. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'll jump in. I support Councillor Toth's idea, and I'm wondering if it would be better to give staff 24 months on the basis that over the next several months, you put together the recommendations for the tender, contemplating some of Councillor McLaughlin's points as well, that we can provide our input, but then that you would get the new council to authorize the tender rather than be inheriting it or be burdened by it. So the idea is you'd have time to put a tender document together, perhaps get us as this council to support it, but leave it to the next council to to actually ratify the issuance of it.
Yeah, I still think we can do it in the 18 months.
Okay, but
Yeah.
so then you'd have a year after.
Yep.
So you'd be.
Once the new council came, we could tender it.
So you
and
could
then
be, yeah.
It would be, let's just say a 2-month close and we still be a
Right.
year out.
But you'd be
More than a
bringing
year.
it to council realistically in January of next year. They hopefully ratify it and you could go the process in the, whatever it is, the rest of that year. Okay, but then fine, the 18, I was giving you 6 more months, but, okay, because if that's, so part 1 of our recommendation on page 64, then you're okay with it, and I think general consensus is that, but the second part, I don't think we should be authorizing that the tender actually go out before the next council. So my suggestion of council is let's vote on these as two different ones. Yeah. So I'd entertain a motion. Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the first half? No? All in favor? Okay, and then the second one, perhaps that staff be authorized to prepare tender approach, the strategy. Some of this might need to be, it's commercial, so there might be some components to that you want to consider. But it comes back to, or you get input from Councilor McLaughlin's post-it notes and others. Mr. Yates, please.
We don't do commercial.
We don't do commercial.
We don't do commercial pickup.
No, that
Yeah.
wasn't, I was talking about commercial terms, the commercial terms
Okay.
of a contract.
Sorry, it was misunderstood.
Yep. Yep. Please.
I mean, a recommendation, which sort of punts a bunch of this down the road, unfortunately, but could be that staff arrange a council workshop after the October election to discuss solid waste program delivery and explore other options that may be possible, such as other bin sizes, additional options to allow for pay-as-you-throw, et cetera. Just do a workshop. Council in October or November might say, nope, you know what, let's carry on as it is, and then staff can work to bring a recommendation forward.
Try that in a resolution.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'll make that recommendation. Staff arrange a council workshop after the October election to discuss solid waste program delivery and explore other options.
Okay, seconded. Any discussion? Please.
I just wonder if it's worth us doing anything then, if it's going to be in a workshop later. Are they going to start from scratch or are we going to give them information?
Yeah,
I think-
it's a good point, but I think any new council would be well advised to take advantage of what our views are. So I'd certainly support something ahead of the election. You've got a number of points, and Councillor Inkster wants a smaller green bin and a bigger blue bin, so. Yeah, please.
And if I could too, I mean, I think there's potential for cost savings as
Yep.
well. So unless you start looking at these things, I mean, I did a tender once for transportation for a school district. I looked at it
Mhm.
and I found out a lot of the schools were charging for places they didn't really go on a regular basis. So the budget was reduced 25%, which was great. But the secretary treasurer wasn't happy because he'd been
Yeah.
pointing out
So,
we'd been wasting a lot of money.
Okay, so the point is you have some, we all have some experience, and to bring that into the process would be probably helpful. So anyways, we have Councillor Toth, you quizzical.
Yeah, thank you. It's just, I recognize Councillor McLaughlin's notes and comments, and like I said, I've got notes and comments too, and I think the idea of putting them all into a spreadsheet and passing them to staff is a great one, but maybe before the end of this term, we also take some time at a committee of the whole to put things onto a parking lot that the next council should take a look at. But anyways, it's not part of this motion. Thanks.
No, and point taken. The other part that was curious, because I don't know that I was really aware of but that the original plan was to have SCRD and Shishel and us together, and that didn't happen. So is that something that staff would be recommending we go back to looking at? So that's not a direction or even a hint. It's just a comment, please.
Thanks. Just two things. The motions on the floor I'll support, but in my mind, it's tentative because the new council may say, we don't need to do that. I mean, if I was part of a new council, I would probably say, that's the old council. We have our own ideas, right? So, but it's good to get a discussion on the floor at that point to discuss what's really important expense item on our budget. And I have to say, in reference to your last comment about the District of Sechelt joining with other partners, one of the reasons why we never have been able to is the District of Sechelt in many ways has led the Sunshine Coast on curbside collection. And if anybody says anybody else, they haven't lived here, because we've led the Sunshine Coast on curbside collection. They've come late to the party, and that's why it's been difficult to get them to come to the party. Thanks.
Okay, no, and I certainly wasn't saying it was the way to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yep. Donna,
Yeah,
Councilor
just,
Beck, please.
and just one last comment. At the very least, we don't want to lose sight of the data we have. So the feedback that we've been given from the community, that's really important. So wherever that fits, just don't want to lose sight of that. The spreadsheet's a great idea. If we can forward that in some mechanism, then I'd like to see us, because we're always looking for hard data. That's one thing we're always talking about. We want to have that hard data. So I don't want to lose sight of that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we addressed that adequately for councils. Okay, I'll call the question. Everybody clear? We're voting on Councilor Toth's wording. All in favor? Carried. Was there nothing else, Councilor Inkster? One point, you said something I wasn't sure if you were going to offer something new.
The party, you started the party.
No, before that,
No.
okay, very good. Okay, thank you. Then council, then we can go to the new item 5.3. Not yet. This is the patio, I guess the need for us to authorize the installation of patios on Cowrie Street right away. Yeah, Ms. Polson.
Yes, we received a request from the Sechelt Downtown Business Association for the reinstallation of the 2 street patios on Cowrie Street. And we are at the end of their 3-year license of occupation for those patios. So with the resolution from council, we'd be happy to issue that license and proceed with the installation that's planned for this weekend.
Great, thank you. And you gave me a hint that you even have a resolution.
Indeed, the suggested motion is that staff be authorized to issue a license of occupation for the Sechelt Downtown Business Association to install 2 street patios from May to October on Cowrie Street for a 3-year period ending October 31st, 2028, under the same terms and conditions as the previous street patio licenses.
Yeah, that's a motion, Councilor Bell.
Motion to adopt is
Thank you.
presented.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor? Great. I think Rotary and others will be busy this weekend. Okay. Thank you for that. So council, then we go to now, Mr. Hull. Item 6.1, which is 5926 Shoal Way, starting on page 195 of our agenda. We've seen this in the past, and it's, I guess, Mr. Hull, is there anything, you're speaking on behalf of Mr. Baker, I guess he's not in Zoom land? Okay.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, the report goes through everything, but maybe I'll just highlight that the core of the decision for council tonight is really just giving the zoning bylaw second reading. And granted, there's a long list of rezoning conditions, but the only one that requires council to make a choice is around the community amenity contribution. So it's really just give the bylaw second reading and then choose option A1 or option A2 as noted in the report around the CAC component. Everything else remains the same as presented.
Everything else remains essentially what we saw.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, council, what's your pleasure? Councilor McGraw, please.
Yeah, through the chair. I'm just wondering, I don't see the development application for this. And I'm just wondering who the architect is. I noticed before we had an issue with an architect. I have the report here. I won't get into the details where the architect, well, the person said they were an architect and they weren't. And so there was a issue with the AIBC to, deal with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
Councilor
we're going to make
McLaughlin.
sure that we do have an architect that is registered in this case, please.
Okay, so I know with the applicants, Mr. Haller.
I looked it up.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the
Yeah.
architectural package. I don't recall offhand what it's definitely not the same firm that
No,
the council is referring to.
can't be.
It is.
It's the same.
We have Applin Martin providing the architectural plans.
So they're on as the architect.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
covering-
I think it's somebody else that's the architect.
You-
Look at architect.
Yeah,
They are
they
the
do
architect.
planning, engineering, and architecture. So
Okay. All right, thank you. So what's before us is as written on page 195 with the decision, which is itemized at the top of page 196. And is there anything, does council understand the distinction of one and the other? Councilor Shepherd, please.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm trying to recall the neighborhood sort of commentary on when this first came to council. And I thought there were two problems that cropped up. One was parking. And I think I see in the report that there's no, and also from the advisory council, that there's no visitor parking. That's sort of shunted off to the neighborhood streets. Is that correct?
yeah, that's part of the zoning amendment is considering the reduction in parking that they can meet sort of the residential need. But in terms of meeting the visitor parking need, that's not possible on the site given all the constraints. So that's part of the sort of a variance bound up in the zoning amendment to reduce that visitor parking requirement. And the consideration of saying, okay, like, well, we don't know exactly what the road design will look like and exactly how many parking spaces can be provided on street. But the idea that there would be some on-street parking that could help provide visitor space, that it's, in this particular case, given all the constraints, that would serve this area.
So if I can put it, the idea is that there will be some parking on this new road,
Yes,
Reef Road Extension or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But we don't yet know how many.
no,
So right now, the plan has one, but there'll be others because of that road.
yes.
Okay, and the second problem I think that cropped up was it stormwater runoff or, so I'm wondering how that was dealt with by the developer and the plans.
I mean, the detailed design will happen later in the process, but in terms of managing it, obviously they have to do what they can on site. The agricultural buffer on the east side will also help with some of that. So that, currently the way the development has been designed, there's no immediate concerns that can't be resolved as they go to the next stages. Because obviously the bylaw has default requirements around they can't have excess drainage coming off the property anyway, so all of
Yeah.
that can be managed.
Thanks for that. I think from my perspective, I'm sort of hesitant about moving this forward without sort of more concrete answers on those two issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Inkster?
Yeah, that's a good reminder from Councillor Shepherd. There were those two issues, parking and stormwater. And of course, we're adding more hard surfaces to the neighborhood once we put a street in and take out the organics and the greenery that's in there existing that we see in the photograph that's presented. So that causes a problem, so that they definitely have to deal with on-site, hopefully water issues and or parking issues. I think that council has an example of parking issue in Sechelt, where we've provided a road at the end. Not sure who's provided that. I think it's the district of Sechelt, but I'm not sure who's put in the parking. Bonnie's put in that parking. Well, there's an example of where they put in enough parking for the overflow, but that's not necessarily being provided here. And if we see what's happened there, there's a lot of parking being used off property. So I think everyone knows that. You live in the area, you probably see it every day when you drive to and from home. I see a lot of cars in there.
Currently,
in there.
because of the construction.
Yeah, sure.
But
Sure, probably on the right-hand side mostly, but I've seen it before. So it's just an example of where extra parking is needed. An actual real life example for this council of what can happen if we don't try to create enough parking on site with minimal parking standards. Thanks.
Okay, so what's before us is not, I don't think that's part of what's before us for second reading, as much as the question relates to us picking between options 1 and 2 at the top of page 196. And that's what staff are looking for, our response and guidance. Councillor Tough.
Thank you. I guess I'll comment on that, and then I've got a related question because it's part of the recommendations. When I look at option, 1 or 2 there at the top of page 196, I'm also thinking about, the road construction that they're doing, the fact that it's not in the DCC bylaw, but we're talking about them building through to lands beyond potentially. I mean, I'm fine with option 1. I don't know, whether the costs of option 2, I don't know where that balance is, but the applicant's proposal is not offensive to me, let's say. My question for staff is around recommendation 3B on page 195 that talks about the land exchange agreement and the road closure. And so I just want to make sure that we don't get caught out. Our staff considering that the road closure wouldn't be in effect until we knew that we had the replacement path either constructed or under construction. And the reason I ask is because we have that trail now. If we close that trail in order to allow for this development to happen, if the development does not proceed in a expeditious manner, we would have no trail. And so I'm just trying to think about maintaining the community connectivity in the interim. Thanks.
Any comments?
Sure, I guess in terms of, the interim, we can always secure a statutory right of way over the land to ensure that the sort of the public access and the use of the trail can continue until such time as the development moves forward. Yeah, the purpose of 3B is similar to, say, the SD 93 French school rezoning application, where we know there's a future road closure application, and we're trying to combine that with the rezoning, not to have the road closure done during the rezoning, but to say, hey, this land exchange agreement is sort of a key piece that has come out of previous road closure applications as a legal recommendation. And so that's where this is kind of saying, let's have this in place as part of the rezoning. That road closure process will move forward in future, as kind of outlined in the land exchange agreement. But it's kind of connecting the two processes, but not locking the rezoning to wait for the road closure.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you. Anything else, folks? Procedurally, if we could, perhaps, I think it would work best if we could address and decide on option 1 or 2 or whatever first, and that would fit into what we might do back on page 195. You want, Councillor Toth?
Thank you. I guess actually I'm going to direct a question through you to Councillor Shepherd, because he had expressed concern about 2 particular items and seeing those addressed before we move forward or move much further with this application. So I guess the question I have for Councillor Shepherd, are you thinking option B, to defer the application pending additional information?
Yeah, through the chair. No, I'm happy to sort of try and decide on option A, 1 or 2, but I am objecting to going back to page 195, recommendation number 2 for second reading. Yeah. Okay. Can I, maybe Mr. Hall, you could explain what happens next if we were to give second reading tonight? What comes back and when does it come back to council?
The next step would be giving the bylaw third reading, which I suppose technically could also happen tonight too. But given the level of things that were being asked of council, we decided to just frame it as the bylaw gets second reading. We sort out the CAC option, and we've kind of had all the other rezoning conditions endorsed. We would bring a report back with the bylaw for third reading, and then it's up to the applicant to get all the rezoning conditions met before we come back for adoption.
For adoption, yeah.
So third reading could be as soon as getting it on a subsequent agenda. Adoption is more based on getting all the covenants drafted and everything. And
okay, so, okay, all right, I think for now, thank you. Councillor Inkster.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. We have before proceeded with 1, 2, 3 and then adoption. Sometimes we've done them together, which I'm really uncomfortable with. I'm okay with first and second if we come later with 3 and not necessarily adoption, because there's a number of things here that have to be sort of negotiated and figured out by this council. I know that we've heard from the proponent saying, please say yes to this, but it's up to the council, of course. But at the end of the day, it's all about building. We approve these and we want the individuals to build. We're looking for housing. So if we're going to approve them, please build. Okay, please build some of these. We've said that a lot. The issues that I was talking about though is parking. I'm assuming, my thought is further you go into the subdivision, the less people will need exterior parking. They just won't walk that far, human nature. So they'll try to find parking within the thing. But the water issue is another one to me that I went up there soon after the last meeting, and maybe other council members do, because I'm trying to figure out where all the water is coming from that the people down there complained about. So you look for our ditches and where the water originates, right? Because there's a golf course up there that should be taking most of it. So where's it coming from after that? So I don't know how we figure that out, because we're going to be putting more hard surfaces in there. So I'm okay with second reading, but we need to solve some of these concerns.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. Oh, right, did you?
I mean, yeah, generally I'm supportive. I think staff and the company, I don't know what to call you, developers or builders or planners.
Representative.
Yeah, have put a lot of work into it, and we've brought it here you know, especially to get things rolling. Now, as you say, I hope that they build it. I do not want to be pressured to move ahead quickly, just to find that it's going to be sold as land that's rezoned. I hope they actually do get it built. So I don't want to put too many things in their way, but I also, I'm going to not be happy if that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
So how can we, I want to bring us back, please, to options 1 and 2 at the top of 196. So I'd like, Councillor Toth, you've sort of said you're not opposed to number 1. So Councillor McLaughlin, do you want to make a motion for number 1? So, yep, thank you.
Thank you.
And seconder then? Thank you. Okay, so just focusing on that, so we'll vote. There's no more questions or no questions. We'll vote on the choices of A1 or A2. In this case, the motion is for A1. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So now back on page 195, where the item E is now would be option A1. And I am in your hands, Council. Please, Councillor Toth.
Thank you. I'm going to move recommendations 1 through 4 now that we've picked an option.
Okay,
So
very good. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Second. Further comments or discussions, Councillor Inkster?
Yeah, so, yes, as I said, I'm indicated that I'll support, second reading, but, I would like us to get a lot of these answers and, before we go third, and then there's adoption. I'm really uncomfortable with that, and I've actually voted against moving too quickly through a process when council's supportive, but we need to work through some issues that are important for the community. Thanks.
Very good. And I think everybody's heard that in the gallery. You said, please.
Yeah. Thank you to the chair. Since we're doing covenants, I'm wondering if we should have a section 219 covenant, safe harmless agreement to protect the municipality, since we don't really know about the water issue, et cetera, just as a precaution. You know, hydrology is a mystery. Geology is a black art, but I don't want to find out, you know, later that maybe we should have been protected. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to Mr. Allen.
Thanks. Just to jump in, and that's a fine point by Councillor McLaughlin, but just in terms of process here, this is the rezoning that would set the stage for both the development permit and the subdivision, where a lot of those technical aspects are worked out, and the applicants will know that those is the rigorous process respecting stormwater management, hydrology that we still go through. I know it's becomes technical and outside of the council table, but to give you assurance, those, if this goes ahead, those parts remain in front of us and are required.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, so well aware of it, and it'll come back to us in due course. Thank you. Okay, council, so we have a motion as listed on page 195, 1 through 4, including option A1. Ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Shepherd is opposed. The motion carries. Is there anything else? Nope? Yes, but before we get there. So I guess we have, and so we have to go to 274 and rescind. So a motion to rescind OCP amendment bylaw 49238. Move seconded. All in favor? Sorry, I don't want to move too quick. Everybody there? Yep. Okay, a motion to rescind the amendment. All in, yes. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Shepherd is opposed. And then the motion carries. And then on page 276, the bylaw number 580-15. And this is for us for second reading. Move seconded. Anything? All in favor? Opposed, Counselor Shepherd is opposed. The motion carries. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Council, everybody okay? We'll go then to the item 6.2, essentially the 5-year plan, and who's taking us through that? Mr. Douglas?
Yeah, included in my report is some of the information on the community charter, as well as some of the ramifications in the budget. All three, the general operating fund, the sewer operating fund, and septic information. Additionally, we've attached a number of sheets that are financial, just some financial background, which includes a list of capital, list of additional operating requests, consolidated 5-year financial plan, as well as just the general and the sewer by themselves. And I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
Great. Thank you. Council, questions? Well, I'll lead it off. What are the assumptions underlying the extension? And this comes up every year, but we have the current budget, which of course we've gone through in comprehensive detail. So what are the assumptions you're using to create years 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Anywhere from under a % increase to a 2% increase, if that's what we see the trends have been over the years. Insurance for the municipality has typically been a little bit higher than that. So we use that history as our go forward plan with pushing it out for the 5 years. Tax rates would be similar to this year, going out the 5 years. Includes a 3% increase for capital in each year, and then further taxes for operations. Same with the sewer. We're really trying to strive for, a capital contribution plan in the sewer operating area. And so we've also carried about a 5% increase out through the 5 years of the 5-year plan for sewer as well.
Right. So the tax is about 6% a year for the next 5 years. That's in here.
Yep.
And the sewer you're saying is about a 5% increase. Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, not seeing others. Can you explain, there's quite a significant change between 2026 and 2027 on our spending.
Yep, there's no carry forward. So in 2026, through the year-end process, we got to know what additional operating requests are being carried over. So we don't know what that's going to look like in 27, 8, or 9. So there's no numbers in there for additional operating request carryovers. So that makes probably almost a $2 million difference from 1 year's budget to the next.
Okay.
So it's just the items from year end are now included into the 2026, numbers.
Okay, so yes, so we know what we are expecting to deliver in 2026, just not sure about 2027. So, and then you just inflate them from there then on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything, folks? Okay, I guess if not, I will entertain a motion. Are you, you okay, Councilor McLaughlin? Big numbers, yeah. Oh, sorry, Councilor Shepherd.
That's all right. I'll move the recommendation on page 279.
Seconded, yeah. 279. Okay, very good. Is there a seconder? Councilor Bell seconded. And so this is for 3 readings. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Douglas. So then we'll do the bylaw. So that's on page 314. This is before us for 3 readings. Counselor Shepherd?
Yeah, I'll move the bylaw on page 314
Right.
of adoption
Yeah, great. The second, thank you.
for 3 readings.
Yeah. So these numbers just are obviously what we've just seen previously in the previous pages. Councilor McLaughlin? Yep. Yep. No, it's important. Yep. Okay, so the bylaw we're voting on is on page 314. The appendix on 316 and subsequent. You okay? You there? Yeah. Okay. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Yeah. 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 All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the sewer user fees. And again, that's on page 321. Anything you've commented on a 5% increase roughly over the each of the next 5 years? Okay. So motion, I guess to consider it, to the motion on page 321, moved Councillor Shepherd, second Councillor Toth. All in favor? It is, yep. And I think this is, it is compounded, it is. So I think you, sorry, can we, and that is something that needs to be grappled with. I think that I would encourage the next council to really embrace that. What do we do about that? We can't continue to just increase things is my fear. It would be nice, but I'm not sure how we do it. Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, just to point out through the chair, this is a financial projection.
Yeah.
All it is an estimate going forward for the next 5 years. You know, the next council could say, no, we want to change that to a 2% increase. So you're not actually voting for a 5% increase in sewer fees for 5 years here.
Indeed, and it's a part of why this requirement to do a 5-year plan is somewhat artificial, because that's why I asked at the beginning about the assumptions, because it really is tied to the assumptions. So we're on duty bound to approve a 5-year plan, and yes, it can be changed tomorrow. Mr. Douglas cringes when I said that. Please, Councilor
If I
McLaughlin.
could just comment, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, which is why we do look at each part and do a projection. Because combined, all the moving parts can make quite a difference, depending on your assumptions for all those moving parts.
Agreed. Okay, did I get a vote on page 321? I don't think I did. If I did, can we vote again? If we didn't, can we vote? All in favor of the recommendation on 321? Opposed? Carried. So then we'll go to the bylaw, which is on 323, and this is also before us for 3 readings. Anybody want to move for 3 readings? Thank you, Councillor Bell. Second, Councillor McLaughlin. All in favor? Carried. Septage disposal. Is there anything you wanted to highlight, Mr. Douglas, on this? I mean, not to put you on the spot, this is the one that we're hoping will wrap up in this
Yes,
next 5 years.
steppage, no real comments, the same increase to sewer, which is what we've been doing over the last number of years to keep the costs increasing similarly. I do have to say that in 2025, the fees that we receive from the Dusty Road facility has gained quite a bit of momentum back to, you know,
Momentum going up?
yes.
Oh,
Yep. So it's been a nice change to see that. Yep.
okay. Oh. Maybe we didn't increase them enough.
Well, it's the usage,
No.
right? More than
Yeah.
anything else.
Well, it's
You
great.
know, the increase was, I think between 90 and $100,000 somewhere in there.
Mhm. And I mean, we're really putting everything we can save to from that to decommission it. Okay, council, so there's a recommendation on page 329, moved Counselor Toth. Second, Counselor Bell. All in favor of the recommendation? Opposed? Sorry, you were in favor? Okay, carried. And then the bylaw, which is on page 331, again, before us for 3 readings. Counselor Bell, thank you. Second, and Counselor Toth. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. And then the tax rate bylaw. And this is the one that gets people tied up in knots. So you're ready to explain this in June 29th? Microphone was not on, but Mr. Douglas
Absolutely.
is excited. All right, great. So, Counselor McLaughlin, you okay? Page 334. I have a motion for the recommendation. Somebody, please. Second, and I've seconded it. All in favor? Carried. And then the bylaw. So the bylaw is on 339. Again, for 3 readings. So you're okay, folks? Please make sure we all have to go through and understand this to explain it to our taxpayers. Especially, I would suggest the chart on page 341. Motion for 3 readings. Thank you, Counselor Shepherd. Second, I will second. Preston, or you're voting? Please.
Thank you. I think it's, if we're having to explain that chart on 341, I think it's also worth us having the chart at the bottom of 335 in our back pocket.
Yep.
When we look at the percentage of the district of Sechelt that's residential versus everything else, we are way at the wrong end of the spectrum compared to other municipalities in BC. We should be around 70% residential, 80% residential, and we're almost 94%. So that has an impact on residential taxpayers.
Sure does. Yep. Yes, indeed. Okay, council, so this is before us for 3 readings. All in favor? Okay, opposed? No? Okay.
We have a lot of waterfront.
Okay. Very good. The motion carries. Okay, council, we then can go to item 6.6. This is okay. So council? Yes, Councilor Toth.
Thank you. We advertised that we were making these changes, and we actually heard from a few people who wrote in with their commentary. I'm actually looking at page 347 and 348. What is this? 2.13, the idea of it being 6 months, and 2.14, again, 6 months. I'd like to make a motion to amend those two to say 3 months instead of 6 months.
Okay.
213, item 16.4 on page 347. This is to do with council reports.
And then
Yeah.
you said, and 214,
And 214,
which is, okay, the question and answer period.
I'm sorry, it wasn't 16-4, it was 16-3. Yeah. Year of general election or prior to a by-election, reports from members of council will be suspended 6 months prior to the nomination period. I'm suggesting to change that down to 3 months. I think maybe
Okay,
this is an
thank you.
overshoot.
Is that a second? Okay, second, and you'll speak to it.
Sorry, your worship, procedurally, we'll need to rescind third reading and then apply the amendments and then redo third reading.
Yes, yeah. So we'll talk about it before we get into procedure, please.
Yeah,
And we'll have to re-advertise, yes, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm okay with this 3 months. I spoke to it before. I think 90 days is, that's coming up soon. So I'm okay with it. And thought it was a way to sort of do what we intended to do, but not restrict it too far back. But that's like, what's in like in a month or two that kicks in. So, yeah, right?
3 months.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay.
okay, so before we can enter, no, we can have to rescind third reading and then move your amendment.
Well, and in hearing that we got to re-advertise and all of that,
You're going to drop it?
I think I'm going to drop it. Somebody else is welcome to move it. I just was trying to take into account the public feedback that we did hear. But I'm also not interested in going through the costs. Anybody that wants to talk to council can email us. They can come up to us after the meetings. Other jurisdictions don't have question periods at all. So, you know, I made all those comments before, but
You did?
just trying to take into account the public feedback we did receive. So,
I heard it too, yeah.
Yeah. Other comments? 'Cause we do have the motion on the floor.
He dropped it. He withdrew it. Didn't he withdraw it?
No, yeah, yeah, yes, I guess that's right, okay. So at the moment, we don't have anything on the floor. Because that's not in order and we've yet to, okay. Okay, well, I was opposed to this in the beginning and I'm going to repeat it. I think it's, it is different to say that we can approach a counselor, a member of council and talk about any of this. It's very different than doing it to council as a group. I think I've certainly was intrigued with the 3-month idea. Recognizing that 6 months becomes a precedent that is, as far as I can tell, unheralded anywhere in the province. So I'm still opposed to this overall approach. I don't think it serves the community well. And so I would be very, well, perhaps procedurally, I should move that we rescind third reading and test the will of council. So that's my motion to rescind third reading of the bylaw. Okay, please. Oh.
No, I'm not making.
Right. Okay. Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. So, any comments, folks? Please.
Yeah. I'm not supportive of that. I think we do get a lot of emails. And, you know, you can see if you look at the donations to different councilors and mayors, et cetera, you know who these people are, you know why they're doing it. And it, to me, is just pressure for campaigning. And I just think, you know what, wait till the campaigning starts. And in the meantime, we get it by email. We get it where we go in the small community. I don't think we need to have it here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure I follow the innuendo in that, but the, your point is heard. your microphone is on.
Yeah,
Are you looking to speak?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think Councilor McLaughlin was just saying that, it's a small town. We know who people are. That's all.
Okay, so we have a motion before us to rescind third reading. And I'll call the question. All in favor? And opposed? The 5 members of council are opposed and the motion is defeated. Council? Please, Councillor Shepherd.
So I'll move the recommendation on page 342.
Okay. Second. Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? You're, okay. And so I'm opposed, so the motion carries 5-1. Council will then go to the minutes of April 15th.
I'm sorry, we need to do the adoption as well.
Need to do the bylaw, yes. Okay. What page is it, please?
Is that 345?
Okay. Is that a motion, Councillor Shepherd? Thank you. Second? All in favor? I'm opposed. Motion carries. So now we can go to 355 and the minutes of the regular meeting of council of April 15th. Any concerns, folks? I will have some, yeah, don't have anything for these. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt, please. Seconded, all in favor? Adopted. And the meeting on page 361. Meeting of April 22nd. Appreciate Councillor Shepherd chairing because I was out of town. And easier to chair in person than on Zoom. Motion, second, all in favor? Carried. The minutes of the committee of the whole of April 22nd. Any concerns, all okay? Motion then, please, seconded. All in favor? All in favor? Thank you. Carried. That was also, oh, nuts. So just so we're clear, folks, this is item 7.3 and we were endorsing the recommendation 3, 5, and 6 in that vote. And 7. But 3, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, if that's all right with everybody, then we can go to the APC meeting minutes on page 370. And these are for receipt. Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Any questions? No. All in favor of receipt? Carried. March 3rd APC 377. Oh, typo. I don't believe Ms. Polson, you were the recording officer for these meetings for the APCs. So unless you've added another job to your list. So both the February 3rd and I think the March 3rd meetings. We'll need that small amendment. So March 3rd, a motion please to receive. Second, all in favor? Received. And then the meeting notes of the Community Safety Technical Working Group for receipt on 380. Counselor Shepherd. Second, all in favor? Carried. The same again, I guess, on 381, the meeting notes of the March, not sure when it was in March, but the March meeting of the technical working group. Motion, second. All in favor? Carried. And the meeting of April 7th of the same group. Second. All in favor? Sure, yeah, so now we'll go to business arising. So yes, Councillor Inkster.
Just a question on the technical working group that's been working for a number of months now. And I guess this question would be through you to Councillor Bell, who's been leading that. Sure.
No, it's a staff, so ask your question.
Staff and
figure it-
Councillor Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a political component that we need to be cognizant of as well.
Yeah.
It's really important. Is the meeting date and times, is it known to the community when we have them? And is there any public mechanism for statistic discussion?
So you're asking me, right, as opposed, so who wants, is it a staff-led committee? So I think we can turn it to.
Thank you for the question. Feels like it's far away. We hold the meeting at the same time per month, but we haven't been marketing that, so I could certainly put that out in our communications. We put the notes out on our website, so you'll see the date after, but if people wanted to know when the working group was happening, again, it's not a public meeting, it's a working group meeting. So the dates are known when we put the notes out, but not beforehand, so I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
And then the data statistical question. So it's led by all the members of the group on what we do discuss. And if someone were to request an agenda item that talked about statistics, then could certainly ask, say, the RCMP or staff if it was something about, for example, the security, and those details would be provided.
Okay, so thanks you through to staff. Just thank you. So my route I just have a couple of questions on statistics, policing statistics. So my preferential route is through you, because you wanted me to go through, just to go to Councillor Bell with those questions. And then Councillor Bell will bring those questions to the committee, and then is that what we're hearing? Then just to get some more clarity on
Okay,
those?
good point. So how does the committee solicit input from, I mean, Councillor Shepherd also attends these meetings, so.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Councillor Bell was leading it. That's why I was looking that way, but either or. then.
Councillor Shepherd has his hand up, so he wants to answer the question.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks through the chair. Yeah, if people have questions, and I have seen on social media, some people have some questions, particular to the RCMP statistics.
Yes.
Yeah, funnel your questions in and we can put them in front. We're meeting with the RCMP every month. We meet with them solely every quarter. So we can have their questions addressed, or try and get an appropriate answer for them.
Great. So continuing along that, I may send the emails, or I just might discuss it with the two council members. We're a team here. And then I'll just ask them those questions. And then if we can figure out a mechanism to report back that information to the public, that would be great. And once again, if it's the two council members, they want to work it out a way to present the answers back to the public because they're asking. Yeah.
If I may,
Councillor Bell?
just respond to that. Yes, thank you, Councillor Inkster. Very important, as you say, that we do respond to the questions, because we're encouraging that now in terms of, in terms of getting emails. We want people to send them. We want people to ask their questions. So absolutely, we will ensure they get back to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do we want these questions then before people start sending emails to either of you folks or anybody else? Is there an email address or input to the technical working group?
I can answer the question. So if they bring them into council, council's represented by the community is represented by council. That's why there's 2 members on the working group. So if they went into the council at seashell.ca, we would certainly receive them that way. We also have a community safety email, communitysafety@seashell.ca. So if they were to go that route, I would then receive them and would bring them up through the agenda
Okay.
process.
Sorry, community safety at seashell.ca. Thank you.
Just, yeah, great. I'm glad. I do want to say though that I have never been, especially close to election time, politicking. I don't want, they may come to me because I talk to some of the people like we do in our community, and I like good questions that I can pass on to our good council members to answer those for the community, but I will not be very reactive to politicking questions so close to an election. I've seen a lot of that in our community over the last 10 years. And this is my community, and I work for people that have fair, legitimate concerns, not political questions. So that's how I'll be approaching it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please, Councillor McLaughlin.
Right, yes, thank you through the chair. Since we kind of zoomed past the BIA Canada Day and Business Improvement Area changes recommendation, page 366 of 387. I just want to bring it up that we got an email from a resident along the block between Ocean and I think it's Trail and the residential block. And that she's very concerned that that block should be excluded. It's residential and it's park. And to have it included in a BIA area just seems wrong, even though she acknowledges, she knew that she wouldn't be taxed more as a BIA tax. She knew that. And also, I just want to add that, you know, if you look at the vision plan, if you look at the Parks and Open Space Plan, it really does acknowledge the special block of waterfront for its natural value, its open ocean views, unobstructed, and for its quiet atmosphere and enjoyment of the public. And I think for residents in the village area, we see it as, we don't have oceanfront property, we don't have views, but we see it as our place to go to enjoy that and to meet. It's already a meeting place.
And so, Councillor McLaughlin, I mean, what came to us today was just affirming our direction. So the email and any other debate on this, I assume will come back.
No, it wasn't
soon.
affirming your direction. It
Well,
was not to
to-
include that area in the BIA.
Not
That's
in
the
our,
point.
yeah.
Yeah,
Councillor Toth.
thanks.
Thank you. The way I believe the meeting went down last week is we passed a recommendation welcoming property owners to petition in favor of a business improvement area. If the BIA is unable to get that support, then there would be no BIA, period. Sometimes in the past, it has been a counter petition process where it'll go forward unless we hear from a certain number of properties. But I think because all we've said is that we welcome people petitioning for a local service area. I think that's going to be up to the SDBA and the business or the commercial property owners to justify when they come to council what they want to see. And I think that, you know, if the commercial property owners want to encompass that waterfront at that time, that's, I think, a perfect opportunity to push back on that particular section. We don't actually we didn't approve any map as part of the recommendation. And so I think until we hear something from the SDBA, nothing's in play.
I agree. So that's why
Yeah.
don't want to get into the details because no, this isn't the place. It's not on our agenda at this point to
No.
debate what should or shouldn't be in.
The
So
problem is the people that are going to be affected, the
they'll have an
residential
opportunity.
people, they're not part of they're not owners right now, so in the BIA, so they will not be consulted. So they're kind of left and feeling like they're just being left. So they would suggest that, you know, if the property is rezoned, then it's time to, you know, talk about all these things. But it's now, it's single family, it's park, and it's working fine. So
Right. So there'll be a process that it'll come back to us if they petition, as Councillor Toth has said, when we can get into that. that's the place to do it, not,
We chose not to go the council-led route.
yes.
We chose to go the property owner-led route. There'll still be opportunity for us to meddle in it, but the property owners have to come to us first. If the commercial
Yep.
property owners downtown decide they don't want a BIA anymore, it doesn't matter because there won't be a BIA,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Like, we're not
Yep,
doing the
so-
counter petition process, so it's way too early for us to be.
Talking about this. So I'm gonna just stop that because it's not that we're talking about one thing or the other. This is just not the time or the place for this conversation, and there will be a time and a place for it. For sure. There will be.
And understand their
So-
concern, right?
Yep.
It's not really seem fair to them.
Yep. Yep. Okay, anything else on business arising? So back on the technical working group, what is the status of the community safety coordinator?
Thank you for the question. We have put out an offer letter to the candidate.
So we don't yet, they haven't accepted.
They have not accepted. The person that we were looking at is not available until July 1st. And so we propose that they work on a casual basis until then. And so they let her know today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and is the plan, and I guess I direct this to you, Ms. Roberts or Mr. Yates, so are we going to continue to get just the meeting notes as opposed to minutes? I'd like to see clarity on the action items that are being taken. You know, I think there's a rigor in knowing what's coming next. The notes we get tend to be kind of, well, this is good stuff that we're talking about, but how are we moving forward?
I could certainly provide an update of the action that has happened. The meeting being a technical working group, we're not mandated to create formal minutes. It is a group of subject matter experts that are just trying to get the job done. So
Mhm.
they've been very effective in doing that, including the work with the encampment recently. So if council would like us to come back with action items, we can do that, or we can add that to the meeting notes when we send them to you.
Okay, well, I think it would be helpful. I guess I'd leave it with our representatives on this group to encourage that. And the other thing, I went looking and I didn't see anything in the meeting notes about the neighbors. So any of the discussion and the meeting notes there's a lot about the residents of the, you know, the shelter or the other parts of the unhoused people, but I didn't see anything in the meeting notes that the group is looking at the neighbors and the impact of this on them. So I'd welcome just I'm sure it's being discussed, but it's just not in those minutes, in those meeting notes. Sir Shepherd, I saw you.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm a little bit confused by that. I'm in support of having, if council wants you know, in the minute notes that are coming to council every month, an action bar at the bottom, absolutely, that's fine. That can certainly be done. But, sorry, your second point about the neighbors,
Yeah,
I'm a little bit confused by that.
well, what I'm reading in the meeting notes is there's no reference to the group considering what the impacts are or how to mitigate the impacts on the neighbors. So I'm only reading what I'm seeing in the notes. So I'm encouraging that to the extent there is discussion about the neighbors and the impact on the neighbors, that be reflected in these notes.
I would argue every single thing that committee's doing is considering the neighbors. Every action we're considering is taking the neighbors into account and how to mitigate the harm that they're feeling and the concerns that they have. Every little bit we're doing. Everything that we do for the unhoused helps the neighbors.
Okay. Because as you are well aware, we've had feedback that that's not how they feel. So, yep, thank you.
Hold on,
Counselor Shepherd.
that's, sorry, through the chair. That's, you know, if the neighbors are really concerned about what's happening with the unhoused, you know, please come forward. No one's come forward to me to say, you know, we're terrified of the impact, or, you know, our staff invited us out to the latest weekly campaign of all of our staff, the RCMP bylaw, you know, counselors were out there this week, and I'll talk about that later. You know, we'd invite residents to come out to sort of meet with the people, see what's happening. So, yeah, it's a bit of a pointed comment that I think the inference I'm getting is that you're suggesting that their concerns are not being taken into account. That's just not true at all.
Okay, so that my comment was to how it's presented in the meeting notes, to refer to give the public more awareness of that their concerns are being considered. The comments that I receive have all been forwarded to council, and the concerns that people have expressed. So I'm trying to support the process of the working group by encouraging that we do a more expansive job of publicizing the work that you are discussing. Yes, please.
Sure, through the chair, certainly. We'll take those, the emails that you forwarded and table it at the next meeting of the technical committee and come back with some commentary.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's, excuse me, I have noted this as well. So I think it is important that the community knows what is being done. So for example, if an example is around the Thursday morning, the cleanups that are being done, if that needs to be reiterated in some of the work that's being done, that can be put onto our notes. Is that something that you're thinking about, Mayor? Can you give me an example of what you're talking about so that we can really drill down on this? It's things that we're missing in terms of reporting.
Well, as I say, I think we're not addressing, because of what I saw in the notes, there's no reference to the neighbors. So I don't know if you're missing anything.
Okay.
So if, to the extent there's a discussion about something and you feel the work that is being done by the working group is going to help the neighbors, I think that's, we could publicize that better.
Okay, and so what I would welcome is that we do get the emails, and like you say, they have been forwarded. So if you could just flag those and just say, you know, can this be included in terms of what the work you're doing? It helps in terms of part of the team to be able to, for us to be aware of that. So it would help that we can include that in our discussion.
Yeah, well, that's why I forward them. Everything I get, I forward.
Okay,
So,
so just so we have that for our future meetings.
yep.
Great, thank you.
Okay, other things, business, I guess it's proper business arising. We had a soft request at the delegation today for funding. And I was going to ask if that's the type of, Mr. Douglas, is that the sort of thing that could come out of, we have a funding, we'll get some funding for Indigenous, sorry.
I'd have to look that one up, but,
So my,
helpful.
overall, my question is, how does council want to address what we heard in the delegation? Or can we perhaps have that addressed at our meeting next week? I think I assume they want to know before event, please.
Thank you. I had in my notes sort of to ponder over what they were looking for in terms of a dollar amount. They mentioned putting on a $40,000 celebration event. Are they looking for $1,000 or $10,000 from the district to Sechelt?
I heard Cam Reed say 10. They were looking for 10. He said 10 from chief and council.
Oh,
and 10 from us.
I didn't hear the
sorry, just
dollar
to,
amount.
my recollection is that that the nation was
Yes.
contributing 10.
Mhm. Okay, well, we can, so let's not do this in real time, but let's just agree we can have this on the agenda next week and perhaps Siobhan and others can clarify what the ask is.
Do you require, is that just your?
Sure, you can, no, you can.
Make a motion?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, to include this in the agenda,
For
in next week's agenda
Right.
for discussion.
Okay, is there a seconder? And all in favor? Carried?
You know, I gotta be honest, I was disappointed. If we're having, Chief Feschuk here and they're talking to us about Suiaya and we don't do the land acknowledgement, insulting, really insulting.
Okay, so one other thing on business arising, I'd be interested to know the status of the farmer's market discussion. It was a couple of 3 weeks ago and changing the orientation. When can we see something come back to council?
Thank you for the question. Mr. Bell sent in a proposal last week, laying out exactly what he had proposed at council. I'm working with Director Allen and Director Lee on that, but we don't have a change at this time.
Okay, because this is a summer market, so I would hope that it's getting, be good to have something next week. Please, Mr. Allen, please.
Yes, the Generis Solus building remains pending. They're working on design drawings, they're having some challenges with BC Housing. But the servicing agreement that's attached to their building permit has a road design that's been endorsed and improved to fix that intersection. So now how do we manage that in relation to the proposed design prepared by the farmers market? The design and the servicing agreement is prepared by a professional engineer and reviewed by our civil engineers. So that's the endorsed design at the moment. So that's the challenge that we have, is that we're obliged by that design that's in the servicing agreement. So we'll continue to review the submission that the farmers market has given us. We'll check with Director Lee when she returns from holidays and report back. But I just wanted to share the challenge that we have on our end.
Okay, thanks. And I mean, the idea of this, as far as I was concerned, was this would help them through the summer. And if they have to put it back or put a curb back, that would be on them. So I don't know that it's as much about impacting the servicing agreement or the long-term design. That wasn't certainly part of my expectation. It was a summer solution to help them. Councillor Toth, please.
Thank you. Now that I don't work on Saturdays, I have time to go to the farmer's market. And I was there this last weekend and they are operating within the actual lease area that they have with the District of Sechelt, which is only up to the edge of that the roadway entrance, without having to cross that roadway. And I think it worked really well. It was compact. It was in sort of one area. You didn't have to worry about wandering off up the hill or anything like that. They'd expanded out into the bus turnaround, actually provided some shade for some of the vendors. Personally, I think they're figuring it out. And I support them reaching out to the school board and doing more to see how they can expand in a way that doesn't require infrastructure changes. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And I guess we've heard from Mr. Bell here. I don't think we were copied on that. So presumably, well, something will come soon. Okay, council, anything else on business arising? Not, we can then go to council reports, starting with do we do council reports now? Okay.
Okay. Couple little things. There was a contract amendment that came forward for $122,000 for additional testing at the Sechelt Hospital well site. And so that's to continue with the monitoring and the testing to make sure, if that is going to be a suitable production site, the ecology is not going to suffer for it. Went on to stage one as of May 1st, stage one water conservation measures. Actually ended up doing a couple of interviews with CBC on Friday about drought management and how far the SCRD has come in drought management since 2022. It was quite an interesting conversation because we've already been hearing from folks by email and on social media about why hasn't the SCRD gone to stage two, the way Metro Vancouver went straight to stage two. And the thing that seems to be a communication struggle, and you know, for all of our thousands of adoring fans that watch these meetings every week, the SCRD calls stage two when water stops flowing over the dam at Chapman Lake. And so right now there's still snow on the ground and water flowing over the dam. So we're in stage one. Metro Vancouver is relying on storage already. That's why they're in stage two. And so when we do start to rely on storage, that's when the SCRD calls stage two. And that's when all the well sources get turned on at full bore. So now's the time to get your pressure washing done, fill your water storage, all that sort of stuff. There should be a water supply update at next week's committee of the whole. And maybe staff will have the crystal ball out to help us understand when we might go to stage two. And obviously the thing that was probably most recognized, we had BC Ferries at a board meeting last week. And we had the CEO and a couple of senior members of staff that were there. And we had them for an hour. And there was a lot of planning that went into that meeting to make sure that we could have them there physically in person because they had received threats, which is unacceptable. Nobody should be threatening violence against anybody that's looking to come speak at a public meeting or otherwise. But the meeting went well. The public was cooperative's the wrong word, but you know, courteous. Thank you. And honestly, they're looking forward to coming again. And so they did come on the ferry, which was late, and them leaving, the ferry was also late. Yeah, 45 minutes late. So they did suffer some of our service challenges, not a full breakdown, but maybe we can work on that for them next time. And then, yeah, AVICC, of course, I was there, but it was a really long week because there was regional district business before and after AVICC Municipal Finance Authority Conference. And on the following Monday, we had a ministers meeting. So I don't know if Councillor Inkster wants to fill anything in that I missed.
Yeah, I made a few notes. I just have to think. You covered the BC Ferries meeting, which was good. I hope what we did there as a board was, in a sense, filter the questions through to the board, to the BC Ferries executive that our community is asking us. And I think it's just like our council, when we get somebody in front of us over an important issue, we really need to present our community's issues because we're the representatives of the community to that group. So I hope, Chair, that we did that. And as I indicated to you before, I wasn't so worried that it would be a problem, as you found out. Our council members that were there, and there was a number of them, were well behaved. So that was the most important part. Although I did catch Councillor Bell and Shepherd talking a little bit. Wasn't disruptive, but anyway, it was good to see the chairman, CEO, whatever, BC Ferries, and the two staff representatives who I've met before. As I mentioned, I'm not going to talk much about AVICC because that would be part of council report, so we'll keep that out. But I did buttonhole them, as a number of our council members always do when we see them at that conference, and they did come and speak to some of the issues we presented, and we did talk to them about how they make their decisions and how who gives them their authority to do what they do. The ship issue, obviously Jimenez spoke to the fact that there won't be another ship or two for a long time. That's not, we know, this council knows. The mayor and myself have spoken to it a number of times. That's not accepted, to have a ship in 12 years. It's not acceptable. These ships, the ships that they have now are already old. They told us that. We heard that. and we know it's being called the Queen of Sorry now. I will tell this council that the very first meeting of the Gibson's FAC is on Friday. I don't know if the chair is aware of that, but it's on Friday. And Gibson's is the one that I've been sent to. And we'll see how that goes. Obviously, I'm going to tap my community for some of their ideas. Hint, hint, for information about some of the questions I should be asking at that table. But it's really important. The ferries is a really important issue for us the chair to have touched on tonight and for us to continue to touch on. And I'm glad our council members in there, other than the minor disruptions. I'm glad to see the other parts that we discussed at the regional district we also talked about the audit, and we talked about reserves at the regional district. I'm not sure if our council was there, who was there, stayed for that. But we did talk about how the regional district has a lot of reserves, but they're specific to projects and or the silos that we're aware of over there. But it's a lot of money in that sense. So, and in terms of the second stage 2, I think that it'll almost be predictable based on historical information available to all of us, and the fact that we're getting a lot of hot weather, although the next few days is not representative of that. But if we keep getting weather without precipitation, we will go to stage 2 sooner rather than later. And so wash the pollen off your car. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So there were no council reports. We'll go to item 10.1, which is the SCRD. Sorry, Councillor McLaughlin. Thank you. So how do you want, page 383, how would you like to deal with this, council? Please, Councillor Shepherd.
Through the chair, is this just for adoption, or will the region be coming to do a presentation on the plan? Thanks.
I don't know who to look to.
Right now, if you look at the top of page 384, SCRD staff would welcome an opportunity to present the SCRD Extreme Heat Plan or HRVA final report as a delegation to council, should this be desired. So I think if council wanted to make a motion to invite SCRD staff to present on this topic, it'd be welcome.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yes. The motion.
Second?
Topic
Okay.
presented.
Great. Yes.
Yeah. Speak to that, because I certainly support it, and I'm glad.
So when do you want it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're going to vote on it and ask them to come, and they'll probably
As
get
soon as
back to us when they can. It's going to be a hot summer. We all know this. And so it's important that they come and do some public outreach and inform our community as soon as possible. Thanks.
Right, thank you. Okay, so that's a motion to invite them to come as soon as possible. Okay, and seconded on that basis. All in favor? Carried. I don't think there's anything else on this. So then we go to almost the last thing, and this is from staff, a request for some support for your emergency preparedness week and event. Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, this emergency event, it's just so important for residents. And they're assembling so many different parties who are providing a piece of it that I think it benefits the whole community. And so you'll see in the note, there's a request for, I think it's $150 for advertising and $500 for advertising and waiving of the $150 seaside fee. So I'm certainly in support of that.
Okay, you want to propose that's a motion?
Yeah, that's a motion.
And from where?
I'm happy to do it from my, I think I did not attend AVICC, so there's probably money in my account.
Well, we're all in favor of that. So, okay, that's a motion with funding to come from the council funds, yeah. And you were seconding, Counselor Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Please, yeah.
Excuse me, just, can you clarify the number again? It was-
The letter said $150 waiver of the Seaside Center rental cost and 500 towards costs of printing and
Thank you.
advertising, et cetera. Et cetera. Okay, Counselor McLaughlin,
Right,
please.
just through the chair. Since it is a community-wide event, don't they qualify to have those fees waived anyway?
That's a good question.
Do we know our own policy?
Yeah.
I don't know why they have to come
Is
begging
it-
when they should probably
yeah.
already get it.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Paulson.
We currently have a nonprofit rate for groups such as the Seashell Community Association Forum. So that's the rate that they have been charged for. So to waive that through use of other
Okay, so there's
funding.
money involved, it's just a reduced rate compared to a commercial
Yeah.
venture.
That's
I see.
right.
All right, thank you. I wasn't
but
aware.
they're- yeah.
Yes, Counselor Bell.
Excuse me, I just want to, you know me, I just like to give recognition where recognition is due. So I just want to say thank you to the community associations under the leadership of Diana Mumford for the work they put into this. It's a lot of work. It's a very, very important topic. And I just want to thank you for all of the efforts and all the work you put into this and all the volunteers.
Thank you. Hey, Counselor Inkster, what? You-
Well, I've, speaking to this motion that's on the table, there's another plan in place. And I think it's already started. That's the problem. And that would be that myself and Councillor Toss fund it through the regional district like we've done before. Through a constituency expense account. And so I'm assuming
Oh.
that's, yeah. Councillor Toth, that you were talking about that. So if we could look at that, which would mean we wouldn't have to do this. And what I would say is we at least put this amount that we're not doing towards Suiaya anyway. Back to you, if chair.
Chair?
Yeah.
Mayor or chair?
Mayor, chair, yeah.
Mayor. Okay. Okay, so counter offer that
Well,
you're gonna fund it?
no, I wanted to seek some clarity from Ms. Mumford because she is here today and we had Counselor Inkster and I had something in email that indicated that maybe this $500 in its full amount wasn't necessary. And so I wanted to confirm that. I'm still supportive of the district of Seashell waiving funding the rental cost of Seaside Center internally. I think it makes more sense than us spending it from the regional district to cover it. So I'm supportive of that. It's the additional portion. I'm in for 125 through constituency expenses. I think Councillor Inkster made the same offer. And so my question, if Ms. Mumford is willing to be put on the spot like that, is it still the full 500 or is it a different amount? Thanks.
Just, no, you just answer it. I'll repeat it. No, no, carry on. That's okay. Diana, just tell me the answer. Not to worry, I'll repeat it in the microphone. Okay,
might as well push
okay,
button.
now that you're here.
Because it's on Saturday and time has really gotten away from us, we've done a lot of stuff just trying to cover our bases. We didn't do a lot of advertising this year because we didn't have the funds. Because as you know, SCAF is rather short of funds. So we applied to the SCRD and they turned us down. Alton has very kindly offered 125, well, he offered $250 and we said 125 would help us through as long as we get that rental waived for the Seaside Center. I've done a lot of DIY preparations and we're hoping for the best. It's the best we can do. I mean, it's community and that's what's
Okay,
important.
so you don't have a lot of costs for advertising?
I've cut everything out I can possibly cut out.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the rental that is hanging over our heads. I think it's $30 an hour. We have a 4-hour event, but we'll need time at the beginning and end to set up and to break down.
Mhm.
So that is our one outstanding cost at this point.
Okay, and we had a conversation as well.
And Alton has already provided funds to us from his constituency fund from the SCRD, which is really helping us with the little bit of advertising that we're doing.
Okay.
One more clarification. So is it that you don't have the funds, that you could do more, or could you do more marketing if you had more funds at
Not
this
in this
point?
timeframe.
Okay,
No,
so
no.
that's I just needed that clarified. So, okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so you're whole, you're good. Thanks
I
to
sure hope so.
Mr. Top. Okay, so. Okay, so a motion that we fund $150 from council contingency for council funds. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a release, a resolution to release, the community forest appointments for the EGM on Monday. Moved and seconded. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and so folks, I notice, I hope you weren't waiting to ask questions because we don't have question period now. But you can talk, if you can talk to us, yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'll change the agenda, yeah. Yeah.
And I think, you know, this last week. And it went well. So the entire.
Are you wanting to speak?
Hey, what do you think of my shoes?